The Rambler Network.
So I have a question. Is Spiral a sequel or a spin-off? Yes, I realize this is an incredibly important question that absolutely needed an entire podcast episode devoted to it. This is Random Takes, something new I'm trying on Rambling Rambler, where occasionally I'm going to take some random opinion or question that's been bouncing around in my head and talk about it for a few minutes. These aren't necessarily things I could build an entire regular episode around, they're just random takes. And apparently my first one's about the Saw franchise. Because here are the Saw movies. We have Saw. Okay, actually, before I go ahead, do me a favor. Count along on your fingers. We got Saw, Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6, Saw 3D, which is also called Saw 7, and then we get Jigsaw, which is basically Saw 8, and then Spiral from the Book of Saw. When it was being promoted, they were stressing it's a spin-off, not a sequel. It's just set in the world of Saw. Okay, that's cool. Franchises do that all the time. Fast and Furious did Hobbs and Shaw, except that was a side story with two characters from the main series. Spiral was different because it was a completely original story and with a completely different killer with a completely different characters. They referenced John Kramer, but only because this killer was a copycat. So it's a spin-off set in the Saw universe. That's settled then, right? But then the next movie is called Saw X, and sometimes the cast and crew said X, and sometimes they said 10 in interviews. If Spiral is a spin-off, Saw X is actually Saw 9. Going back to the Fast and Furious franchise really quick, Hobbs and Shaw is a spin-off. The movie before it was The Fate of the Furious, and the movie after it was Fast 9. Granted, their naming conventions could warrant a random take episode in itself, but I digress. They didn't title it 10. And yes, I know Saw X is actually set between the first and second movies, so chronologically, it's nowhere near the 10th movie. But that's not how we're numbering these things. Otherwise, Saw X would be Saw 1.5. And nobody wants that. I think we're mixing up completely different things. Being a spin-off describes what kind of story Spiral is. Being a sequel describes where it exists in the franchise. Those things don't actually contradict each other. It's the 9th feature-length movie released in the Saw franchise. That's just math. Also, what's with companies not liking the number 9? Both Apple and Microsoft skipped the number 9. They went from iPhone 8 to iPhone X and Windows 8 to Windows 10. Windows 11 is Windows 10. But I digress. Again. I realize I'm getting weirdly passionate about this, but Lionsgate themselves basically made this inevitable when they followed it with a movie called Saw X. The Roman numeral X means 10. You can't call the next movie 10 and then look at me in the eye and tell me the previous movie doesn't count. That's not how numbers work. And now I desperately want them to make another spin-off before Saw 11 just to see what happens. Because apparently we've established spin-offs don't count. So we'd have movie 10, Saw 10, movie 11, some completely unrelated spin-off called The Contraption or something. Then movie 12 comes out and they call it Saw 11. No, you don't get to do that. We all saw the other one. You can't hide a movie from mathematics. So, final verdict. Is Spiral a spin-off? Yes. Is Spiral a sequel? Also, kind of yes. But most importantly, is Spiral Saw 9? Yes, it is the 9th Saw movie. It just happens to be a spin-off. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. You're wrong, but that's fine. And now I've spent several minutes arguing about whether the 9th movie in the franchise is in fact the 9th movie in the franchise. Anyway, that was my random take.
The Rambler Network.